Hey, how's everyone doing? it's like Groundhog Day. Okay, so we're gonna start over right now. Hey, welcome to the Daily Draw. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and I am so glad that you're here. On the Daily Draw, we always take a look on Fridays at an animal, and so today we'll be looking at a cat. But in the meantime, Sharon had posted her work from last Tuesday, and I told her that we would take a quick look at it this morning or this afternoon. Let's do that, okay? So here's Sharon's. Sharon, you did a great job. You did a great job on this cart here. So let me show you where it went a little bit south. So if this is your there's your axle. There's your axle, which is also your minor axis. And you drew that circle, you drew this wheel perfectly round. And so it would need to be, need to be more foreshortened. Okay, let me show you an example. Let me show you this idea here. So let's say we had this is a square, all right? And this is going back to that vanishing point, and we're gonna make this kind of go back to this vanishing point here. All right, so there's my square, all right? And this is on the inside of this square. Okay, and so then we're gonna draw, let's just pretend like this square, and don't draw this, just follow along. You could come back and watch the video. Let's say that square is going to have a wheel at the bottom of it, okay? So drawing wheels can be so complicated. I don't show this, but since you already have the concept down, let me point one more thing out. Let me show you. Now what you can do, I'm going to change this to be green here. What you can do is draw a square. Okay, now this square is going to go back in space as well. All right, but what this does, it helps you to draw that oval in foreshortened, so it works. So if this is my minor axis, so I simply want to make sure that it stays within those bounds and is reflective. See, that is the other way. That is one more additional step you can add when drawing a wheel. Put a square that's in perspective, and then draw your wheel within that square and using the minor axis. Okay? So that is the big thing here. So in your case up here, this probably should have been more like this. All right, let's look at this one up here. So you have this right there. Okay, there's your axle for the back there. And then this wheel probably should have been more like this. Oh, thank you, Adam. Okay, so that would be a much better angle for your wheels. Okay. How do you know where to put the green square? Okay, that's a great question. Let's take a look at it. So instead of wheels, let me demonstrate it like this. Let me show you it like this. If a wheel is perfectly round. Okay, a wheel will fit into a square perfectly. So I'm trying to see if I have a little block here or something. So here you go. Let's pretend like I was going to put a wheels on this. Well, this square would line up exactly with with the shape of your car. You see that? So it's really just a matter of a guide. All right. So you just want to make sure that this square is lined up. This is going to be the size of your wheel, is lined up with whatever object you're drawing it by. Do you see what I'm saying? So let me show you this. Let me show you this thought. Okay, so let's just say we have two squares here, all right? Two cubes. Okay, and so we just drew a cube. This is in perspective because all of these things are going back to the same vanishing point. All of these are going back to the same vanishing point. Okay, so let's do this. Duplicate that. All right, now just watch this, and then you could come back later and try and draw it. All right, I'm going to demonstrate something for you here. So the blue box is like the whole car. Yes, exactly right. But what I'm going to do is show you two different, what I'm going to do here for you, we're going to show you two different size wheels here. So it doesn't really matter the size of the wheel that you drew. You just want to make sure that it's lined up correctly, okay? All right, so that's going back there. That's going back there. Okay, so this is where there's your first axle, all right? Let me just get that here as well. And there's your second axle, okay? So let's say on this big huge square here, and we're gonna change this color here to be blue. Let's make a small wheel, all right? So I'm gonna put that wheel that far away, all right? We got that. All right, let's just come up here like this. This is going back to that vanishing point. Okay, you know what? I just realized something. I'm thinking out loud as I'm doing this, okay? Hold on. Let me show you one thing here. And I apologize if I'm like running all over here, but it's okay though. This is worth it. So let's make our square here. Let's say this is, all right, so there's one square, all right? Oh wait. This is why we do live, so we can quickly on the fly make adjustments. All right, so there's a flat square, all right? What we need to do actually is put an X. This is going to show me the center point. All right, now just watch that. And now this X ends up, you see this, like, there's the center point. That is the center point of the wheel. That has got to go on the axle. So we'll just slide this over and right there, okay? So that would be one. Now we could take that same X and move it over to this one, but we can make this one a much bigger wheelbase. Doesn't matter. Because this X is going back to the vanishing, this is going back to the vanishing point. This is going back to the vanishing point. Now I just do want to point out one thing. It just so happens that the blue diagonal is almost perfectly lining up with the axle. That just happens to be happening, okay? So if we have this size right here, now watch now. I could come in here and use this X. there's that wheel for that box. All right. And now let's draw the wheel for this big. Okay, now look, there's that side there. So I really want to try and make sure I'm mirroring that. And there's the wheel for, that's a bigger wheel. So now what you could do then is you can then bring this, that would go to that would go to the vanishing point, that would go to the vanishing point. And then this would be your giant wheel. That would be your giant wheel for this box. And the little guy, we could do the same thing for the little guy here. And it could almost be a tire. So what you have here is two different size wheels. Two different size wheels. Everything is the same. They're just bigger squares to begin with, okay? And that's how you do it. I hope that helps. So just come back and you're going to wake up in the middle of the night thinking about this. And then it might just click for you. All right. I love it. That is why I love this. You ready? All right, let's get on to our drawing here. All right. So, speaking of cats now, all right. Let's start off with a. Where did my notes go here? Oh, that's all right. All right. A cat head. Here is the simple. This is what I want you to put in the back of your head. This is the simple shape. When you're drawing a cat's head, what I want you to think of is a parallelogram. That's it right there. That is the basic shape of a cat's head, okay? All right, let's move that over here. So when I'm looking at this cat here, all right, I'm going to start off with his kind of an eye line going across, right? And then I could actually come in here with this parallelogram. Now, it's going to be foreshortened just a little bit, but that's the general shape. And then I'm going to have a round ball area for his muzzle. Center line. And this gives me the basis now that I could really start to draw this cat on. So what we do is we use the basic shape, we break it down into 3D forms, and then we start to lightly gesturing where we think these other elements are going, trying to match the different shapes. So once I get this to this stage here, now I'm going to start using tools of measurement to make sure things are all lining up. So, for example, one tool of measurement, I'll write them over here, are using vertical lines, horizontal lines, negative space, and a cartoon check. All right, so let's use negative space first. So what I mean by negative space would be, what is this negative space between the ears looks like that. Okay, how does mine look down here? Well, okay, right away, look at this. This angle should be a little bit more wider. That's better there. You see that? Okay, so that's a good adjustment to make. All right. Look at this. Let's see, what else can we look at here? Okay, look at this, is interesting. Let's use a vertical line. The edge, look at the edge of his nose lines up with the center point of that eye. You see that? How does mine line up? How does mine line up here? Let's see. Let's grab the right color. A vertical line. Oh my goodness. Look how off. I'm really off on my eye. So we're going to have to make an adjustment here. So I'm going to move my eye over like this. That's a much better drawing now because I've made that proportional adjustment. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Let's say a horizontal line. Where does a horizontal? Okay, look. Look at that. The bottom, you see this? The bottom of the eye lines up with the top of his nose. All right, how is mine doing down here? Bottom of the eye, okay. Horizontal. Oh my goodness, look at my nose. My nose is really whack. My nose should be way up here. So you could see how just by using a vertical line, a horizontal line, and negative space, I have been able to quickly make some adjustments to my drawing so it ends up being far more accurate. Let's erase some of this junk. And that's how we do it. That is how we do it. So let's see. Let's see if we could just finish this thing off here a little bit. Let's see where maybe this eye, I got a feeling this eye is too close. So let's take a vertical measurement. All right, so let's just say the end of his mouth is right there. You see that? There's a vertical line, and let's see where mine is lining up here. If I go vertical line, oh my. Again, this eye is too close. Okay, so you could start seeing that I start making all these adjustments, and I just have to keep making the adjustments until it all starts falling into place. All right, let's bring up another cat drawing, another cat picture, and take a look at it. Let's go with this guy here. All right, let's go ahead. This time, let's start off with a sphere. And let's just kind of work in here this idea of this parallelogram. Something like this. This is just a gesture here. All right, so this is kind of, I think, where we're going with this. We could come back. We have to put in something to build upon, right? All right. I make adjustments as I go. Okay, now I'm not going to get caught. Look at this. There's the edge of the nose. Where's that lining up? Okay, it's to the outside of the eye. That looks much better. But where is this other eye? Look at that. There. Where is that lining up? All right. I could maybe visualize that. Maybe it's over here, about there, huh? Yeah, that looks pretty good. This right side is going to be, I'll just coming down with a line like this. Back side of his head. All right, let's look at this negative space between his ears here. Make sure that, okay, now look, look at this. I'm thinking like, okay, if that's the corner of his eye, okay, in this corner here, okay, that's showing me that where that corner is lining up, and then this ear starts to go up right almost in between that. All right, I think we can make that adjustment here. So this ear is actually coming starts way over here. It's amazing how we use the same thing in all the noses. Yes, that is true. Yet the animals are pretty similar. I mean, a cat's muzzle is similar to a dog. It's just shorter. Okay, we're going to leave this guy. I think we'll move on to our next one here. That should be enough for you to get your head around. Let's bring up our last one here. Okay, we'll do a profile here. All right, let's start with this circle. Profile's a little bit different. Geraldine, I'm glad that you are here. I didn't quite acknowledge you earlier. Okay, let's get these eyes placed properly here. So this is going to be the front of my cat's head there, right? So looking at this little point right there, that's going to be right there. So that head, that eye is going to be right about there maybe. And here's something interesting. Now, this eye is there, so the bottom part actually, don't do that per se. Do this. Think of it as coming around it. You'll draw a much better eye then if you think of the form wrapping around that sphere. Yeah, you missed all the shenanigans. You didn't miss much. All right. So there, I've got my eye position now. So let's see now. If we visually, oh, look at that. There is a vertical line, so we know that the one ear has got to come up. Good. That vertical line, that ear's coming up. So okay, so we've got to make sure that we line that up right. You see that? And then the other ear is going to be right over here, and that's, look at that. That's coming up like this. Almost like a flame. You see that? I get a feeling that that's too far forward, but that's okay. All right, so there's that. There's the mouth. How far back? All right, so this ends up being, you have all these whiskers coming in here. You got our mouth. Let's add a quick little bit of tone here. So we've got that. Now this eye. Don't leave that eye white, because it's not white. But look at that. Look at the picture. It has a little bit of white fur right underneath that eye. Do you see that? He's got some fur up here. Oh, look at this. See, even when I'm drawing, I start picking up things that I didn't notice, and this happens all the time. So we constantly adjust. So look at this. Look at that angle right there on that front end of the nose. Now look at mine. Now this is a great example where you could use this idea of what I call a cartoon check. So what is the cartoon check? Okay, let me show you that. This is the fourth tool that you could use for measurement. So look at that muzzle right there, and then quickly jump over and take your eye, look at that muzzle, now look at mine. Look at that muzzle, and as you quickly move your eye back and forth, almost like you're looking at a flip book or two pieces of animation, you will see that my nose sticks out as you quickly compare the two, jumping your eye back and forth. All right. Well, this is the fourth tool of measurement that I use. So right away I could see that my muzzle needs to come way back here. Let's see if I could quickly erase that. There it is. All right, let me redraw that now. So we're going to come down like this. And then There's his little mouth. And that, my friends, looks much better. Now it would just be a matter of getting this hair in place and everything like that. Okay? So there we have it. I think that that will be a good end to the week. We've looked at wheels, knowing how to draw them on a how to draw ovals on an axle. Thank you so much, Sharon, for providing that work for us. We've looked at the basic shape of a cat's head, that being a parallelogram. No. That's a pentagram. This is a parallelogram. I knew it. Oh, boy. All right, I think I'm done for the day. That's a five-sided pentagram. We've looked at the shape, the general shape of a cat's head is a pentagram. And then we looked at the 4 tools of measurement: vertical lines, horizontal lines, cartoon check, and negative space. I'm going to quit now while we're ahead. Have a great weekend, everybody. My name's Kurt. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you don't mind, please give a video a thumbs up. It's always the best. See y'all later. Go make your day great.